In this video we are going to see how to draw a very precise trend line, what the definition of precise here, and why and where this accuracy is important. Hey everyone, my name is David. For those of you who don't know me, I've been a trader since 2006, and in this channel I'll share with you all my experience about the trading world, specifically forex trading. First off, let's start with these questions. What is really a correct trend line? Why different traders sometimes draw a trend line differently? And is it really important to be picky with drawing trend lines? Well, some traders believe that they don't need to draw a trend line very precisely. Maybe because their intention of drawing a line is just to see a trend easier. Or maybe they believe that there is no such a thing as current trend lines. If you're in the first category and want to draw a trend line only for recognizing a trend easier, the fact is it doesn't matter how accurate you draw it as far as you connect highs and lows. You only need to find two lows in an uptrend or two highs in a downtrend and connect them. The problem is that most traders draw trend lines because they want to find supports or resistances to either enter the market when the line is broken or go with the trend and use a pullback strategy. If this is the case, you'll obviously be in trouble if you don't draw a correct or precise trend line. You enter the market sooner or later than you should. You probably can't find correct SLs and TPs. And because you don't have solid rules for drawing your lines, your trading results are not reliable. You're always in doubt when you want to open a position because you don't follow a specific or fixed rule, so you're not sure about the trend lines you've drawn. That's why you need to set a solid rule for that. Okay, now some people say I have my rules. I always draw my lines from the end of candles shadows. Well, I think that's much better than not having any rules. At least your results are more reliable. But the problem is it's not an accurate trend line. You might lose lots of opportunity to enter the market. For example, you think that the line is not broken when actually it is. Or wait for the price to get to a trend line while it's already hit the correct one. Now you'll probably say, okay, so how should I draw trend lines then? What does accurate even mean here? Simply put, it means draw a line in a way that includes all the available shadows but doesn't cross any bodies, even one pip. However, it's not the whole story. First, let's see what I mean by that. I mean crossing shadows but not bodies. Okay, now let's look at this example. We want to draw a trend line in this situation. We are in a downtrend, as you can see, and first off we need to find two highs because we are in a downtrend. This is one of them, this is one of them, and this is the second one. So we want to draw our trend line to connect these two tops to each other. So let me delete them first. So we have several options. Let's say we can draw a trend line like this. We connect two highs to each other. We can draw it like this, we can draw it like this, and lots of options that we have if we don't follow any rule. But based on our fixed rule, the rule of drawing trend line that we've set, we have to connect these two types in a way that it contains all the possible candles. What do I mean by all the possible candles? Look at here, look at this trend line. We didn't connect these two candles. Actually, if we reverse this one, as you can see, this candle is not touched, and this candle and this candle are not touched. So we need to contain those candles as well. Let me reverse it one more time. So if we do it like this, if we draw a trend line like this, we didn't cover this one yet. So let me reverse it again. We covered these, we didn't cover this candle yet. We haven't covered this, so we need to cover that as well. So we put our trend line, the beginning of our trend line here in this candle, and for the next candle we need to cover these top, the second top. So if we put our trend line here on this candle, we don't cover this candle, so we need to cover all the possible candles. So we need to put our trend line here. This is the right way. So you might say that, okay, you said we are not allowed to draw the trend line in a way that cross any body, and you can see there are two bodies here that you might think that they are covered, they are crossed. So what I mean by that, it means that they are not crossed. Well, this is not a cross. This is not a cross. Well, how we can figure out which one is a cross? What we do is we put our trend line on the open or close of our candles. In this case, because we have here a bearish candle, we put our trend line on the open of this candle. Let me show you more obvious. So as you can see, our trend line passes this candle a little bit, but let me show you with another trend line. Let me change the color here. Let's see. But if we draw our trend line and put the second point on the body of this candle, as you can see, this trend line is lower in this case, so our real trend line, the yellow one, doesn't pass the candle, the body of the candle. So this is the right one to draw our trend line. We've covered all the possible candles in this case, all the possible candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, and our trend line hasn't crossed any bodies.
Well, now you know what I mean by precise trend line. It's time to talk about the size of trends that we should pick for drawing our trend lines. In other words, how many candles should our trend lines contain? It's important to know because it will contain a lot of candles when drawing a line. We basically draw a trend line related to higher time frames. And as a result, sometimes our trend line is not accurate because there are some candles that might be shadows in higher time frames. So the trend line is drawn differently in different time frames, and the trend line in the higher time frame is the correct one. So what time frame we need to pick for our trend lines? As a rule of thumb, the highest time frame that the trend line can be drawn is the correct one. In other words, we pick the time frame with the fewer number of candles, as far as there are obvious highs or lows for drawing lines. So if we can draw a trend line in both 4-hour and 1-hour time frames, the 4-hour one is the right time frame to draw the line. Let's see some examples.
Okay, what I mean by fewer candles. Look at this chart, this trend. We have a downtrend, as you can see, and if we want to draw a trend line, we have several options. There is two tops here, we can connect them to each other. Another one is from here, we can connect these two tops, 1 and 2, and we have maybe other one from here or from here, but the right one is the one that connects all these together. So as you can see, we have lots of candles here. So this is not we are in a 1 hour time frame. This is not the right time frame for drawing the candle. If we want to draw the candle in this time frame, we have to draw something like this. We have to connect these two tops to each other, and as you can see, there are lots of points, there are lots of tops that aren't connected to each other. Look at here, 1, for example, 2, 3. These tops are not connected and are not in this trend line. The trend line isn't touched them, so this is not the right time frame. Let's jump one time frame up, let's say 4 hour time frame. This is the 4 hour time frame, and this is our line, this is our trend line. If we want to draw this trend line, this is our trend line in H1, 1 hour time frame. If we want to draw this trend line in H4 or 4 hour time frame, which is one time frame higher than 1 hour, we have to draw a trend line like this. We cover all the highs, we cover all the candles, shadows of the candles, but we don't cross any bodies. So as you can see, we have lots of touched points, 1, 2, and this is the right trend line. We have obvious tops, these tops and these tops, so we can actually draw a trend line. So H1 is not the right time frame here, and 4 hour chart is the right time frame. And as you can see, we have price action that proves we are correct, we are right. Okay, let's take a look at another example. We are in a 15-minute time frame and the price is in a downtrend. If you want to draw a trend line in this time frame, we need to connect these two tops to each other, and as you can see, there are lots of untouched points here, untouched price here. But when we go one time frame higher, let me zoom in, the right trend line for us here is this one. Let me change the color to red. The right trend line, maybe this one, no, this one. So as you can see, our trend line covers a lot of points. These 3 candles are the ones that we didn't take them into account if we just rely on the lower time frame trend line, which is the yellow one here. So the right one here is the red one. This is another example. We draw our trend line in a 15-minute time frame, and when we go to a 30-minute time frame, you can see that, let me zoom in, you can see that we have to draw our trend line like this. Put it here, let me change the color, and you can see price hit our trend line here. So this is the right trend line here. This is another example. We are in a 15-minute chart in an uptrend. We draw our line, our trend line, based on our rules, and let me zoom out a little bit. And as you can see, there are lots of points that the price hasn't touched our line here, and these are the lines, these are the points that we don't have any touch if we draw our trend line in 15 minutes. But let's go to 1 hour chart and draw our trend line again. This is the right trend line. Let me check here. No, this is the right trend line according to our rules, and as you can see we have more touches here. Look at here, and let me go one more, let me go up one more time frame, and in this time frame we have this trend line. Okay, this trend line, and the trend line, let me change the color, and this trend line is somehow like the H1 trend line, so there is no big difference between trend line in H4 and H1. If you like this video so far, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can watch other videos like this. Okay, now you might say what all this precision is for. How can I use it practically? Can I not just draw a trend line and enter the market when it breaks or when the price bounces off of that? First, I have to say it takes some time and lots of drawing lines in the different situations of the market before drawing all your trend lines precisely. And when you get to that point, you can't make your decision and enter the market just based on a trend line. You should combine it with other methods and tools in order to build a thorough strategy. In the next videos, I'll talk about other types of lines as well as some tools and methods that I use in my strategy that show me a sniper entry point as well as exact SLs. I'll put the links of upcoming videos in the description below under this video as soon as I make them. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can watch them when they're uploaded. By the way, don't forget to smash the like button if you found this video useful.